Just a functional vat. We're going to be talking about soil sampling. I'm digging a hole right here so I can get some undisturbed soil to show you the stratification. On your little gear, which is at the bottom of the screen, click that. It's going to probably be on a very low setting, and click that up, increase the quality of the picture. If you look, you can see stratification. Starting at the top where the soil is, you have these dark streaks that create a dark band, and then the soil becomes more or less homogeneous in sort of this sandy pink color. When soil stratifies, and it does, you get different properties of nutrient in different layers, and I'm going to go into detail on that, not in this video, but I wanted you to see this. So let me put the dirt back in the hole and we'll move on to the next portion of soil sampling. Let's say that we have a garden of these dimensions, whatever they are, whether they're feet, yards, 10 feet, 100 feet, 1,000 feet, it's unimportant. But we have a garden of these dimensions. What we want to do is measure from here to this point and divide this so that we can grid this up into even sections. We want to measure from here to there and divide so that we can now get little squares in here that are all basically the same size. Now I realize some of these may be slightly different, but they're going to be close. There are several ways to take a soil sample to get a composite picture. One is to take one just randomly, say is in the center, on the edge, towards this, on the outer edge, say somewhere along a center line, and so forth. You're just going to grab samples out of each one of these. You then put them into a mixing bucket and you're going to thoroughly mix these things. You're going to remove rocks and roots. Now little pebbles. Now I'm assuming you don't have boulders in this, but you'll remove all the organic material and any rocks, and you'll mix this completely until you have a resident sampling, which will comprise from here to there to there and everything in between. This way, when you send in a sample, the laboratory has a basic clue as to what is in your garden as far as soil testing for recommendations of fertilizer so that you can produce your best crop. Trees, vegetables, and some other things which I won't go into at this moment may have different nutritional requirements, so it's important when you fill this out. Are you growing vegetables? Are you growing fruit trees? What is it that you're growing in this area that you're sampling? Now let's look at an actual sampling process. In our garden, we have gridded this thing off so that we have our samples. We're going to be taking a total of 5 samples out of this. So what we want to do is we want to put our tube into the ground to a depth of 6 inches, which is about right there. Give it a quarter turn and bring it up. In this, you can see that I have a great deal of dark material in here, which we'll be getting into. I have a little bit sticking out on the end. That's fine. We're going to break that off because this whole tube right up to here represents our 6 inches. So we want to now put this into our collection bowl. Remember, you always want to start with clean equipment whenever you sample. Now we move to another spot. This will be our second sample. Here's our second sample, and it's very similar to the first. We want to get it out of the tube. Alright, this makes our 4 samples. If you look at this one, this is way too wet to process. Way too wet. And these are almost dry enough to work. But since this is simulated, and here's a whole bunch of organic material right here, so we want to throw that out. Looks like some little plants got turned in. But we want to mix this up, and we want to stir this, thoroughly stir it, thoroughly break it up, getting out any organic material, any rocks. Once we've done this, then we'll bag it up to ship off. I'll do a video just on bagging, on filling out the paperwork, and all that good stuff. And let me show you 2 other aspects when you're taking physical soil samples. One of the aspects of soil sampling is to take the depth of temperature at 6 inches. So we take our probe, there's a line right here, we push it into the ground to the 6-inch level. And now we wait for the probe. When the probe was put into the ground, the temperature on it was showing 80 degrees. We are now just barely under the line of 70. So since these are in 2-degree graduations, we could say the temperature of the ground is 69 degrees. In order for your crops to germinate, the ground temperature has to be at a specific temperature for that specific plant. Now, many plants will all be in the same temperature zone, but some of them are not. Most of you have heard that you want to plant your crops when the hardwoods start putting forth leaves. The reason for that is because the hardwoods have deeper roots and are waiting for temperatures deeper in the soil to reach a specific temperature, which tells them that the frost is over, it's done, it's not going to come back. So taking a proper temperature of your soil is part of your soil analysis or your soil sampling. We have three different probes that we're going to test. Alright, on the extreme right hand side, the moisture meter is set on moist, and it shows to be off the scale. pH, it shows to be alkaline, very alkaline. This moisture meter cost about $7. I don't know where it came from, and it says that the moisture is right on the borderline of being wet. This temperature gauge right here shows to be 69, and we can change this pH, and the pH shows to be 5.5, so that's pretty accurate. These 2 meters, and it says we have excellent light in spite of the cloud cover. These 2 probes were under $10, that I know. This one I got at Tractor Supply, and I paid $30 for it. Dysfunctional Vet, Captain and Master Gardener, out.